All right, first thing I'm gonna do is what I want to do is I want to take a cube. Anybody know what a cube is? It's basically
volumetric square.
pretty much, yes, it's pretty much what we have in width, we want in length. I'm gonna just give it a wrap or two. Oops. Then we're going to come across with another cube from here. And we're going to take half of that cube on a sharp angle. And so that's what we're starting with. It is not what I intended, but that is what we're going to start with.
Make sure you show it from the camera too. There you go.
All right. Tell you what, I can do better, and I'm going to. Scene one, take two. Sir?
You gonna give up on that one and the other end?
Yes. I have folks tell me all the time that they fail at making horse heads, but do excellent at making alligators and aardvarks. This would be an example of that. And it was one miss hammer blow. I'm gonna let this end get warm again. Thank you, Lewis. All right, one cube. Okay, that's step one.
Mark where you wanted to hit on that steel before you heat it.
Yeah, but I never measure anything. You can ask anybody. And I mention that from time to time, but I don't measure anything because measurements might not look good to my eye. So, all right, now we're going to reach across to this poor anvil. I'm going to take a cube from here to here. We're going to try to make it look like I know what I'm doing. So this may take a minute. Okay. There's where we are. You can see the difference on this end, this end. All right. I'm going to take my ball fuller. There's a practice that I do when I am building my horse head, and I may miss saying it, but I call it swooping. I'll come in here and I will swoop and swoop, and I'll soften these edges so that they're not sharp corners on there. I won't show that to the camera, but there's no sharp corners on the top, no sharp corners on the bottom. And a lot of times I'll just do that automatic and won't mention it, but it's probably one of the more important parts of doing the whole thing. You don't want things that are unpleasant in your hand whenever you're making stuff. So round all the edges, and swooping makes it real easy and convenient for me. So and it doesn't, I'm not taking time to do it. It's not that I'm going over there and softening the edges. I just do my swoop, do my swoop, do my other swoop, and I'm done. I do wear a glove on my left hand because some of my tools are really short. This steel gets really hot. That yellow heat is probably 2600 degrees. So there is some radiant or ambient heat. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the back side of this jaw, and I'm going to push it out. And you notice where I have this steel, we do that a lot. If you note now, you see how the jaw is round now? And that's because I put that ball fuller in there. But there's the ball fuller. There's the round jaw. It just gives it, instead of it being right angles and all, sir? Ball fuller. This is my 1-inch ball fuller. It makes a 1-inch hole if you drift it through. But notice it's not round, but the edges are broken. Good morning, sir. But that's how we make the ball fullers. All right.
So if I say ball fuller or ball punch, am I talking about two different things?
Sir?
If I say ball fuller and then ball punch, am I talking about two different things?
Should be the same. Fullers and punches should be the same. All right. I'm going to go on the opposite side of the fullered side. Little chip there. Come back here behind the jaw. Little chip there. All right. So, what I've done is I've given him a mouth and an ear. You see the two marks? And now it's just with one of our chisels, and I'm still going to continue on. I'm going to dress it up a little bit. I'm going to hit it with a brush real quick. Now you might be able to see it a little bit better. All right, 2 little nicks. One here, one here. Sir?
Thank you.
Yes. All right, yeah, y'all, I have 2 volumes. One only my dog can hear, and then one my wife looks out through her eyebrows at me at.
She ain't here.
No, she's not here.
Mine wears hearing aids, so you yell or if you're whispering, you're not loud enough.
Right.
You're in trouble either way.
Yes, sir.
But that's
All right.
normal, isn't it?
Yep. This is going to be my nose. It's just a special shape that I've made. And I learned it from somebody else, of course. It's not quite a V, sir.
He was telling me to get closer.
Get a little closer. Take a look.
All right, I'm going to tap it right there. This is just a fuller. I'm going to come right here and give it the inside of its ear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And so what I've done now is I've laid out the main. I put his ear in with that same fuller. I went above that chop I did with the chisel, and I put the ear pocket in there. And I laid out the mane. The mane is a fuller, and so as I go through this, because I'm not done with it, it will actually curve the metal in a good way to give him a horse's neck.
Did you explain what a fuller is?
Yes, sir. This one here is a very fine fuller. It's just, I call it canoe shaped. If you look at it from end to end, it's straight across here, rounded on the ends. But it's same here, straight across here, rounded on the edges. And here's a more exaggerated one. It's just broader. You want to pass that one around? That's a broad fuller. I guess the fan's broken, guys. Because well, I know earlier I said, let's get that fan on, and it ain't working.
I think we're at the point we probably got to order some fans.
Sir,
I think we're at the point we went to order some fans.
we just ordered 2. We just got 2 in. Alright, so I'm going a little bit deeper. They're kind of vertical instead of peeled back. They're pretty straight, but they will work. No, not that fan. I'm sitting here pouring sweat.
Oh, you got to tell me which hand you're talking about.
No,
Blower on the forge.
no, that's a blower. I need a fan.
What does the blower do? Just give it more?
Yeah, sir, it's oxygen. It's just, and just like blowing on, you know, any tinder, like in the bottom of a fire. That's all it does, and then, you know, you can crank it back and it'll get roaring real good. Yes, sir. It's kind of like a dull chisel. It does. My leaves, this one here, I had it a minute ago. The one that I passed around is the one I do my leaves with. Yep, I know, and I thought I set it in here. But here it is. That's what I do my leaves with. Now at 2,800 degrees, this steel will burn. So you got to be careful not to burn it. And I'm just going back over the mane again, because what I like to do is I like to push the mane out. See from the back side, see how it's scalloped? That's from pushing it out. And see how it arches?
Doing that, did you like draw it out on a piece of paper?
No, sir. I don't draw. Everything that I've ever tried or given a whirl, I've just grabbed it and started whooping on it.
So you didn't see anything that says that looks pretty cool. I think I'll try that.
I have watched plenty of videos. There was one on, what is it, the John C. Campbell workshop out on the East Coast, or out east. They did a dragon one time. It was a little 15-minute video of their class. And I said, I can do that. And I went out there and made my first dragon, first go. My whiskers didn't turn out quite as well as I thought that they would. It took, even now, I probably lose 20% of my whiskers whenever I make whiskers on him. Give you 2 seconds. Yeah, they did that one on video, and I just watched it one time and decided I would do that. Now another member actually taught me how to do the wizard. I made one with him, and then I started making my own tools to make the wizard. Okay, we've pretty much got his whole face fixed up, dolled up. So the last thing I like to do whenever I'm doing the horse's face is I like to do his eyeball last. Now the punch for that is just an eyeball. And when I lay this thing out, it actually gives me a place to put his eye. And I don't like to do any like eye stamping or anything like that on a hot heat. I want it on a dull maroon, just above black, because it doesn't dig in near as bad, and it's a crisper, nicer look. And so, but that's how I make the horse head, and I can continue on. Get this here spring fuller and might put a bottle opener on it. I can make a stake turner on it. You know, start over. It's pretty much garbage at that point.
Like, almost like a sparkler.
Yeah.
And all those sparks are pieces of your steel.
And your steel will look like lava rock. I mean, you know, it'll look honeycomb. All right, I'm going to turn that down just. All right, just for noise sake, because those things there are so loud. Where's the other?
I got the big one.
Lon? Didn't we get 2 fans for this shop? Okay. Well, the other one's got 2. The other one's got big one, but I took pictures of whatever I brought in here. Huh? Because the other one's whisper silent. All right. This is a spring fuller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my steel and put it in here like so. And notice I'm doing my swoop. And okay. And so all I did was choke him down right there in the back of the mane. All right, little camera, sorry about that, but I don't think the spring fuller fits inside this anvil. Well, kind of does, but anyway. But
What's the advantage of using that?
can you do that on the anvil?
Yeah. And it's more uniform. You can do that. You can put on the edge of the anvil. One side
Yeah.
out of shape and not the other side.
See, if I was to put it on the edge of the anvil, I mean, first thing, I'd have to have a hammer that's shaped like that. I mean, I could cover it, and then, but you're distressing at the same time. Okay. That doesn't look bad at all. Slot punch. A blacksmith once upon a time said, I need a 3/4 inch hole inside a 3/4 inch piece of steel. How are we going to do that? So they used a slot punch. And I'll make a 3/4 inch slot and I'll push a hole through there and it will give me a 3/4 inch hole inside a piece of 3/4 inch steel. And I triangulate, get it right about there, set it, overlap by about 20%, set that. Now when I get done with this, it should look like a machine had punched it, cut it out, whatever you want to say. Flip it over. Now I'm going to flatten it back out. Now I'm going to find my shine. So I flip it over and I can see my shine. I did not hit it that time. Don't forget my overlap. Okay. You see that?
So you don't actually need to knock the slug out over the picture hole.
Sir, no. See, it absolutely looks machined. But you do that on a low heat. You notice it was a black heat. And the slug,
Somewhere down there.
yep. Oh, did it make it all the way to the gravel? No, here it is. Here is the slug that once filled that hole. And notice it's just paper thin. See, because it's indented on one side. So there is very minimal lost steel there. But I got exactly what I wanted. All right.
Come out whole instead of just expanded.
Sir?
How'd that come out whole instead of just expanded?
The shape of my slot punch. It's not a chisel, it's a slot punch. And it determined if it expanded or, and basically what I did was I just pushed it flat on the back side, and this, see, this is,
Two different spots.
huh? No.
See, what he did was he made it really thin at the bottom of it.
Yeah, I drove it.
And when he turned it over, because it was black heat going to the dirt, so it sheared off and left it over. That's why you do it with black heat. Try not to let it slug out when it's red hot.
Thank you, Lon. All right. Y'all understand all of that? Did y'all gather his question and the answer I gave him? That's, every tool is a little bit different than the last. Before I burn my steel, I'm going to shut that off. All right.
What happens if you burn the steel?
You get to start over.
Well, what's it look like? How do you know if it's burned?
You want me to burn some? Okay. It does.
It'll melt or it'll kind of like,
It'll turn into a sparkler for sure.
it'll kind of, the coat will stick to it.
Come out looking really rough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you've got like a fine point on something, a red kind of point.
Oh, that's the first thing.
Like
That's,
that, and you burn it, it'll just take all the thin stuff off because that's where it's not fastest. And
All
you've
right.
lost your edge or your point. It's long.
all right. I never drive straight through. I go to the biggest part of my drift because all I'm wanting to do is put a hole in it, and then I send it little by little. Don't drive it through. So now I have a 1/2 inch hole in a 3/4 inch slot. Hello, Kurt. Do not pick that up because that thing was soaking up all kind of, you notice around that hole turned black quicker than anything else because all that heat went into that. Folks will pick those things up and it will remind them that they're in a blacksmith shop. All right,
First, let's
3/4.
You do is try to drive it through. You'll actually push steel down into the hole around the drift, and it's
Yep.
cool. And if you're not careful, first time I ever tried to drift something, I needed to pry bar to get it out of the end.
Yeah,
Not welded it, just jammed it in there.
yeah. That's
Wasn't
easy
hot
to
enough
do.
to forge plug it to the asphalt. That would have been a mess. It'd still be in there.
Yep. This is a 3/4 inch. Sir?
Just a little out of route there.
No, it's around here. But
Just drifted it up a little.
I'm gonna turn it over and go from the back side this time. And I'm gonna get the biggest part of the drift in there. Then I'm gonna slow down. That way there, as the metal cools off, it's gonna shrink. Well, it's not gonna shrink back. How's that look, Shane? Is it up there? Okay.
I don't have that fancy camera like hers has.
Oh, gotcha. And see, then it just goes blasting through. All right. I've got a 3/4 inch hole. Oh, sorry. All right.
Explain why you went fast at first and slowed down.
Because as I'm going in the steel is cooling off. So I want to get it to the biggest point of the drift. So while it's still wedge shaped, if you see it black around there, you're no longer drifting, you're forging. And the metal will start actually turning out from underneath it. So while it still has color in there, you want to get the drift to the biggest point in that hole. Once it turns black, then you just start easing it, because your metal is shrinking now. Now, as long as that drift is inside there, that hole can't shrink because it's cooling off. Forging is moving with moving steel with other steels. If you blast through, something like that with it cold, it's just going to invert it. Right. Your steel actually inverted into the. Okay, yeah. And then it wedged. It actually became a wedge inside there. Yeah. Yep. But you want to do all your drifting while the steel is hot. If you see the steel and you see that black ring or circle around your drift, flip it over, tap it one time, knock that drift out, get it hot again, set it back over. I promise you, your work will turn out so much prettier, so much nicer. But whenever you start driving stuff through, the halo's going to start as soon as you put that piece of steel in there. The halo's going to start, but it's not going to be black yet. But as soon as you see it turn black, there's no sense in trying to get it through there anymore. It's just going to start splaying. Yeah, this here backs up all my work. If I had it over here, my metal would be sinking down inside there. So I have some hot tools down there, but all right, the 1/2 inch. No. But anyway, here's my 1 inch. See, so as I get to the full size, then it's pretty much the same 3/4. It does. It gives me a shoulder so my steel isn't leaving. Sir? A larger hole can work. Or a smaller hole. I do that a lot. I will take my 1 inch drift. Like whenever let's say I'm making a pair of tongs, I will take a drift like this and back it up on a hole like that. And whenever it hits there, then I know that my size is oversized for that rivet for the tongs. And then do that with up until I get to this one. Once I get to this one, it fits through. But yeah, you can.
If anybody's interested in a dollar hole, I actually have designed one with squares and circles, and I need like 5 or 6 measurements from you, and then I can make it custom to your ample, because no 2 amples are ever close to the same. Unless they're like Holland or something like that, yeah, theirs are pretty much the same mold.
But yeah, several times I've made dollar holes. I'm like, I'll cut out the blank, I'll put the hole in the center, I'll hand it to Kurt. He'll go home, set it up there, take his pencil, go to the outside corner, and then go to the inside corner. Yeah, well, I mean, this in here has been so hot and cold and hot and cold. No, no, this in here is crayon. Got it. I got it. Well, heck, fire. Then go to the inside. And in between those 2 lines, you can drill all the holes you want to. So That will make it fit between your Pritchard hole and your Hardy hole. All right. Did I leave that in there or did you take it out? Okay. They wanted to see me burn some steel, so I wasn't ready to. The day is still young. I'll burn some. But I will. And by the way, thank you. What kind of boots you got on? Okay. Gotcha. All right. Should I make a steak turner or should I just make a bottle opener? Well, I'm going to do both of them on the diamond, so it's just the bottle opener is a lot easier to do on the diamond. If I stop at the bottle opener. Always. Sorry? Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Being that I'm going, when I do it this way, I like to fuller both sides of the, or spring fuller both sides of the hole. I go to 3/4 inch. If I go any larger, I can't do the spring fuller. If I'm smaller, my measurement might be off. Like I said, I don't measure, I use my eyeballs. But whenever I go to 3/4 inch, I'm always spot on. Yes, sir. I was trying to. Did anybody hear me? Did anybody miss what I said? I cannot, because I normally have a furrowed brow, and
and when he pulled me over,
so yeah, but I don't like the furrowed brow. Okay. Now I'm going to come to the spring fuller, and I'm going to come just to the very edge of that. I'm going to put it in there. I'm actually going to pull it to me. Strike down, rotate. Why did I rotate it? It probably is doing probably 20% more work on the top than it is the bottom.
so if you kept hitting from the top, it'll be more.
Yes, sir. It would walk through more. Now there are blacksmiths out there that get away with it, and I've watched it 100 times, and haven't figured out how they do it, because when I do it that way, it always winds up the way that I expect it to. All right. Mr. Camera. So I've fullered it on both sides. And now I'm going to go on the horn, and I'm going to do the diamond for the bottle opener. Sir? Get a couple. Get 6 or 8, put them in that cooler. I didn't go by Sam. Well, I did go by Sam's. I didn't buy water. So. Sorry? Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do here is a little advanced. Okay, I'm going to be hammering on the diamond. I'm going to explain it. I'm going to be hammering on the diamond. All right, I'm going to come here with my flatter, and I'm gonna get in that crotch there. I'm gonna flip my hammer, and then I'm gonna get here, turn it over again. Then I'm gonna, well, there we go.
You know you can flip the piece around for that.
Sir?
You know you can flip the piece around to get that other stuff.
Well, that's how I get this side, is I flip it around. I do.
Smooth the edges.
And I'm also making the hole larger. All right. Just keep my work straight. And you notice it's not in line. I'm not going to fix that right now. But it is in line somewhat that way. And I know what I'm doing right now makes no sense to y'all right this second, but it will. Where's that double-headed? Show them what I'm doing. The diamond. Yes, sir.
End up out of line because of where you put your slot, or
No, it's just the metal moved. It's see, it's all that way, but I go like, and now where is it? It's perfectly lined back up. Good morning, sir. See, perfectly, but that's why I didn't straighten it on a cold heat, is because I knew I could just tap it and make it back in line. But while I'm working the diamond, as y'all see, I'm making, yes, but I'm making the hole larger as well. So if you did a cutaway, that shape would be a diamond. If I was just doing the bottle opener, I'd just work it all the way around, flip it, work it all the way around. But I'm going to add to this, not like that one, but some, you know. But that's a good example of what I'm doing, because it's not just a hoop. You know, it's got something on both sides.
About to go live for a second. You see them?
Sure.
3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Hey, Palmer Robbins here from Mississippi Forage Council out here at the Ag Museum. We're Saturday before Easter. Everybody's out here. If you're not, you need to get out here. We are in the fire today, working on a couple of little projects. This here is going to be a horsehead bottle opener, steak turner. Anyway, hope everybody's having a great day. Enjoy the weather. Come and see us. As always, stay safe. Wear your safety glasses. All right. That's my buddy, John Schuler. You know, whenever I demonstrated in Oklahoma, they actually voted, and I was rather blown away by this. They said, do we want him or this little feller from Mississippi? And they said, let's give that feller from Mississippi a shot. So I got to go up there, Salt Forks, and hang out with those great people. And I certainly did enjoy myself. And every year I plan on getting back there to their conference, and I have not made it yet. Maybe I'll make it this year. They've had some greats there. They had, when I was there, it was me and Brent Bailey were the demonstrators. Any of y'all ever heard of Brent Bailey? Some have, some haven't. He's from California. He uses big hammers. And Kurt, what size is Brent's hammer? Brent Bailey. 250, 300, 400. It's big. It's big. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That will fit on the die plates. Yeah. Huh? Yep. All right, around and around we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, that one there is a 50. The one that they brought for him to work on at Salt Forks was a 100. And he said that they were making axes. And he said the words the effect of, he had never made an axe with such a small hammer. Wasn't sure if he could do it. And I showed him how to do it on a tire hammer. I said, tire hammer do it. He didn't believe me. Said he was from Missouri. I showed him. Yeah, I went over that when I first started. Was whenever I got the flatter, I can get all the way up in that crotch, you know, real close to the stem. Then I flip it over and I'll work, and then I flip it back over and I get right up in that crotch, and I, you know, move it beyond, continue. Then I flip my hammer and I go on around. With the rounder, I just can't get in that corner like I can with my flatter. Sir? So I can get in that corner. Sir? But here. And then I'm going. All right. Now I know it's on a low heat, but you can dress steel up just by planishing on a low heat. I know you see I have an egg-shaped hole. It is Easter. But I will take this guy here and he will fit perfectly in there at 1 inch. Planish is basically love taps over striking blows. Just kind of cleaning it up. You can do that. It's far more effective on a low heat. You can see your metal better on a low heat. When it's screaming, you can't see any inclusions in there. On a low heat, you can see all of it. All right. Now, I will not be forging anything here. But I will size and I will shape. almost there. Sulfur? I don't know. It wasn't there a second ago. Cart, did you put something in there? It's ashing up and it's blue flames.
Well, I would say there's brass in there. Yeah, brass. More likely it's a high content of sulfur.
That's what it looked like was sulfur.
Ooh, that's
It
pretty
done
good.
sulfured up my. There. Is that it right there?
Well, it's so it's in the ground, and they don't even.
Yeah, his steel is very it's got sulfur. It's got a lot of sulfur in it.
Well, sulfur goes to the ground just like coke does.
Well,
sometimes it gets mixed in with the batch.
Actually, all the coals keep on that one.
Now I'm actually like, this Palmer source is ruined.
Hmm?
You wanted a blue one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely odd. And what do I normally say? That's never done that before.
That's new.
All right. It wasn't in superheated steel, and it wasn't in there just a second, you know, because I flipped it over and knocked it right out. So you can barely even tell that it's changed temperatures, but you always want to be like this in here. That was a long time ago. This in here is still warmer than that one. Huh? Right. And see how it's just, you know, it's just got a hold on it. That was it. I'm going to try to brush some of that off of there. All right, I'm just chipping some scale off of here. Make it a little bit prettier. All right. So, this is still hot here, and I don't mean good and warm. It's hot here. See it dry on off. All right, but that's the finished horse head. It does have most of a functioning bottle opener on it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put a stake turner on it. And anything, you know, when we do our demonstrations, that stuff goes in the iron in the hat. So I'm going to put a stake turner on here, put it in the iron in the hat. All right. Okay. Sir? Yeah, I need a hot cut. I know Lewis has one. Hot cut. Sir, we're not losing them. Somebody's stealing them. Okay, I was thinking maybe back here, but thank you, Lewis. Okay. Thank you, sir. All right. So what you'll do is you determine how much steel you're going to need. Some of these guys measure, I do not. Take my rounder. See how I just find it? All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Man, I have some tongs in my shop that make this so easy, and I did not bring them. But thanks to Lewis, I do have tongs for today.
That's why we all share our phones with other people.
So basically, this part here, I'm just drawing it out. But I attack the end. I wish. But if you attack the end, the rest of your taper will come a whole lot easier. All right, so that's, we've got it to somewhat a point. Hey y'all. How am I doing? Okay. Who made these? Okay. Huh?
I think I bought them like that.
I understand that. That's what I was asking. Who made them? Where'd they come from?
I think Amazon.
Okay. y'all notice where I'm hitting actually stays orange and generating heat or energy in this stock. All right, keep your work straight. Don't you hate it when a blacksmith just picks up a piece of steel and goes bluey and he's got something? But if you start off on the end, your tapers will be far more successful, I feel like. And that's how I do it. Couple heats and I'll be done. Now I want to change hammers again. Yep. All right.
Boards. Are you starting to round it?
Sir?
Are you starting to round it out now?
Yeah, I'm knocking the corners off of it. And you can do that at a low heat. You can see your metal, your steel, a whole lot better at low heats. So your planishing blows are a lot easier or more successful this way, I feel like. I'm not always 100% right, but I do have reasons why I do things. And I have something that I always do on all my steak turners. I haven't done it to this one yet. And I could wait, because I will be putting bottle tabs in it here in a little bit, but I'm going bananas working this thing out. But bless you. Not a whole lot of heat to it. Yeah, but I always do it, and I don't miss. And I like to do it before I start my draw out. That way there I leave that part of the steel untouched.
Draw it out, you let it out.
Mm-hmm. That's right. All right.
Pretty.
Yep. All right. And this serves as no function that I know of. It is definitely something I do on all of mine. Okay, we're going to continue on that. Okay. Yep. There was some Play-Doh up there.
No, it was that clay we used for kids, and I left it up there. 90-degree day, ordering all day.
All right, what did we do with that sulfur that was up here? Okay, all right.
Yeah, there we go. That's the story. We'll stick to it.
All right. Notice I'm not just going after it. I pretty much have what I want. All right. And on that last heat, I had this touching the back side of that fire pot to keep from burning my point, you know. That point it's very little mass. But whenever I had it in there heating it up, I had it touching. That protects that point. Now this time I'm gonna go ahead and heat up the point and I'm gonna finish it on out. I don't know if I've got my edges cut back or not, but see that? See those sparkles? No, it was starting. Yes. And I'm not going to hit the end. Yep. If you want to split a piece of metal, hit it when it's cold. All right. All right, planishing blows. All right, now we're going to put a point on it. Point you can do when it's hot. All right. Now the reason why y'all see me turning it is when I lay it on that anvil, it's automatically drawing heat out of that back side. So when I roll it over here, it starts taking on heat again. But it starts drawing it out there, so I can roll it like that, go back and forth, and I can keep heat. You see, that's a point. Now I'm just planishing, I'm not forging anything. A lot of people wonder if I grind my points on my stake turners. I do not. That is a point. All right. I'll show y'all how to bend the point. I'm going to do it in 2 steps. All right. Notice how fast that got really hot. I'm going to go ahead and start curling it over. Oh. Okay, so I have my basic shape. All right. This is going to be for a right-handed person. Anybody here left-handed? If you're left-handed and you win it, I will change it to a left-handed. All right. Huh? This is for a left-handed person. This is for a left-handed person. All right, I just switched it from left-handed to right-handed. Just by changing sides with it. I just flipped it to the other side. Y'all remember what I said about your bikes? All right, so that'll work. Still have to put my bottle tabs in there. That's all I have left is the bottle tabs. What y'all think? Super easy, isn't it? Everything I do is simple. Every single thing I do is simple. It just doesn't become easy until after you've done it 100 times. But somebody 2,500 years ago was doing this with a rock between their feet. So, yes, sir. Yeah, gas forges, of course. Yes. The only difference is a coke forge, you can isolate your heats. Now, a coke forge can burn up steel a lot quicker than most your gas forges will. I have one at the house that if I don't have it turned back, it'll burn everything up. But most folks don't have that problem with a gas forge. All right. Three-quarter on, quarter off. All right, there's one of them. All right, there's one of them. And I'll put the other one on this side. You want it good and warm whenever you do this, because you're going to put three-quarter on, one-quarter off. Always lift your tool up. Double make sure. All right. So now we have two bottle openers, one horse head, one steak turner, chicken flipper, pork chop turner, all right.
That's a tender spot.
Now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to clean this guy up, and then I'm going to put color in him. And I could blacken him, but I'd choose to put color. It takes me about 5 minutes to get it cleaned up. And basically all I'm going to do is go back there and take all the scale off, make the steel nice and pretty and shiny, and I'm going to use heat to put color in it. I'll be right back.